Welcome to the Deep Dive. Have you ever thought about how a whole country can just pause? Like really pause.
It's pretty fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. Today we're diving into exactly that, Vietnam's unique rhythm of national holidays. We've looked at a whole stack of sources to understand why things sometimes beautifully, maybe confusingly, slow right down.
Right. It catches a lot of first-time visitors off guard.
Exactly. So our mission is to give you a shortcut, pulling out the key insights on the meaning, the magic, and importantly, the practicalities of these celebrations, whether you're planning a trip, living there, or just curious. Oh, and before we jump in, if you enjoy this deep dive, maybe consider buying me a coffee. You can just scan the QR code in the podcast cover. It genuinely helps keep the series going. Thanks so much. Okay, so let's unpack this. It's easy to see the closures and think, oh, logistics. But our sources really highlight something deeper.
Much deeper. These aren't just days off work in the way, say, a bank holiday might be elsewhere. They are core cultural moments, windows into the Vietnamese spirit, really.
Windows. I like that. So what are we seeing through these windows?
Well, you're seeing what the country deeply values. Or family, definitely, gratitude, heritage, remembrance, and peace. Understanding the holidays means getting the why behind the pause.
Okay, so it's less about convenience and more about connection.
Precisely. It's a societal agreement, almost, which naturally brings us to, well, which celebrations are the big ones, the ones that really define this rhythm?
Good question. Our sources consistently point to three major ones that everyone should be aware of. Let's start with the absolute giant, Tet, the Vietnamese Lunar New Year.
Tet. You can't talk about Vietnamese culture without talking about Tet.
Definitely not. Timing-wise, it's usually late January, February, follows the lunar calendar. And its significance, it is the most important holiday, full stop.
Absolutely. It's all about family reunions on a massive scale, ancestor worship, which is incredibly important, and blessing the home for the new year. Good fortune, prosperity.
And the impact. This is where visitors sometimes get tripped up, right? We're talking a nationwide shutdown.
Yeah, pretty much 7, sometimes even 10 days. Schools, most shops, banks closed.
Wow. And visually, what does it look like?
Oh, it's vibrant. Fireworks, definitely. Kids getting those lucky red envelopes, Lizzie's, beautifully decorated altars and homes, and flowers everywhere. Peach blossoms in the north, Akna flowers down south.
So that nationwide closure, that's a thing that can really catch you off guard if you're not prepared.
It absolutely can, but what's fascinating and what the sources stress is that despite the closures, it's deeply joyful for locals. It's sacred time. It's the time to fully rest, reconnect with family roots, honor ancestors. Commerce just takes a back seat.
A total reset. Okay, so after the intensity of Tet, what's next?
Well, things get a bit more whimsical with the Mid-Autumn Festival, or Toe Trung Thu.
Right, the Lantern Festival, usually around September, again, lunar calendar.
Exactly. And the focus shifts quite dramatically. It's really centered on children, family again, but also moon worship, celebrating the harvest moon.
And the activities sound lovely. Lantern parades.
Oh, the lanterns are magical. Kids parade with them all lit up, and moon cakes, of course. You see them
Oh,
everywhere.
it's dense, sweet cakes. I've seen pictures.
Yep, with all sorts of fillings. And you also get these really energetic lion dances happening in the streets. It's meant to bring good luck.
The sources paint a picture, especially in places like Hoi An or Hanoi's Old Quarter,
Yeah.
of just magic. Lanterns everywhere.
It really is. And connecting it back, you see that cultural value placed on the next generation, on community joy. It's softer than Tet, more community-focused, maybe.
Makes sense. A different kind of pause, perhaps? And the third major one.
National Day, September 2nd.
Okay, so this one's different again, more civic.
Absolutely. It commemorates Vietnam declaring independence from French colonial rule back in 1945. So it's about national pride, history, sovereignty.
So less about ancient traditions, more about modern history. What do observations look like?
Lots of flags flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Patriotic music playing. It's also a popular time for local travel. People might visit family or take short trips.
How long is the break usually?
Shorter than Tet, typically just 1 or maybe 2 days off for most people.
Okay. And any big events?
In the larger cities, yeah. Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, you might see parades, fireworks sometimes. It's got a different energy, more outward celebration, national unity.
Got it. So 3 very distinct holidays, each with its own feel and rhythm. Which brings us back to the practical side.
Yeah.
Especially for Tet. What does this mean if you're actually there?
Right. This is crucial. How do you navigate this as a visitor or an expat? How do you experience it respectfully and, not get totally stuck?
Our sources had some really clear do's and don'ts. Let's start with the do's. Preparation seems key.
Oh, absolutely. Number one, stock up. Groceries, any medicine you need, and definitely cash. ATMs can run dry or be offline. Do this before the holiday really kicks in.
Makes sense. What else?
Talk to locals, ask your landlord, hotel staff, neighbors. They'll know if any small shops are staying open, or just give you general tips. Local knowledge is gold during Tet.
And if you want to experience the cultural side,
Visiting temples on the first or second day can be beautiful. Just remember the basics. Dress modestly, be respectful, quiet. And definitely, if you're near a city center, watch the fireworks and the lion dances. They're fantastic.
okay, those are the do's. Now, the don'ts.
Yeah.
What should people absolutely avoid?
Okay, top of the list. Don't book domestic travel last minute around Tet. Just don't. Flights, trains, buses, they're packed solid and prices go through the roof. Plan way ahead or stay put.
Right. And service expectations.
Lower them considerably. Everything slows down. Even things like Grab or other ride-sharing apps might be very quiet. Drivers go home too. Patience is key.
And related to that,
Yeah,
don't get visibly frustrated, right?
exactly. Remember, this slow pace isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's their cherished time to rest and reconnect. Complaining about it is really not the way to go. It only happens once a year.
That's a really important perspective shift.
Well,
So something about visiting homes.
yes. Crucial etiquette point. Do not just show up at someone's house uninvited on the first day of Tet. The first foot entering the home is hugely significant for the family's luck that year. Unless you are specifically invited, don't be that first foot.
Wow, okay. Good to know. Any conversational pitfalls?
Yeah, keep it positive. Avoid bringing up sad or unlucky topics. Death, illness, debt, arguments. Tet is all about looking forward with optimism.
So, light and cheerful. Got it.
Basically, yeah. And maybe the biggest don't ties back to the frustration point. Just don't complain about the quiet or the closures. Embrace it or plan around it.
So the advice seems to boil down to either plan an international trip to avoid the shutdown
Which some expats do.
or lean into it. Embrace the quiet. Apparently, cities like Hanoi and Saigon become almost peaceful.
Eerily peaceful, but in a good way. For a few days, the usual hustle just evaporates. It's a unique chance to see these usually manic cities in a completely different light. A rare kind of quiet.
And what about navigating the other holidays? Mid-autumn, for instance.
Mid-autumn is less about closures and more about location and crowds. If you want that magical lantern experience, you need to be in the right place, like Hoi An or Hanoi's Old Quarter. Book accommodation early. Expect it to be busy, but vibrantly so.
Okay, so plan for festive crowds rather than shutdowns. And National Day.
National Day is shorter, just a day or two off, but it's still a popular time for Vietnamese people to travel domestically, so internal flights or trains might be busier than usual around September 2nd. Just be aware of that if you're moving around the country. Expect flags and patriotic stuff everywhere.
Makes sense. And across all these, our sources really seem to stress that simple politeness and genuine interest go a very long way.
Absolutely. Locals generally love sharing their culture if you approach it with respect and curiosity. Learning a simple phrase like Chúc mừng năm Mu for Tet.
Happy New Year.
Right. It just opens doors. It shows you care. You're making an effort. It's appreciated.
There's actually a really nice story in our sources that brings us all together. It's from an expat, Karen, from Canada. She's been in Hanoi since 2019.
Yeah, I remember reading that one. Her first Tet, right?
Exactly. She hadn't planned to stay, but flights got too expensive. So she was kind of stuck in Hanoi, initially dreading this ghost town scenario she'd heard about.
Yeah, common fear for first-timers.
But it turned out completely different. Her neighbor saw she was alone and invited her over on New Year's Eve.
Which is just lovely, that community spirit.
Totally. And she describes sharing bonchung, the sticky rice cakes with the family, lighting incense at their altar, watching fireworks from the alleyway. Simple things.
And that became her favorite week.
Yeah. She said the magic wasn't the big public stuff, but that quiet warmth, those shared moments. It gave her a deeper understanding of Vietnam, she felt, than months of just regular living.
That's beautiful. It really shows how embracing the pause, even accidentally, can lead to such profound connections. It shifted her view from inconvenience to, well, humanity.
Exactly. So this deep dive really hammers home that these holidays in Vietnam, they're far more than calendar dates. They're living expressions of core values.
Windows, like you said earlier, into family, gratitude, heritage, peace. It's a whole different way of structuring time around collective well-being.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. And that brings up a question for you listening. How might understanding this kind of cultural rhythm, this deliberate collective pause, change how you think about your own time off, or travel, or community?
Maybe it's an invitation, like you said, to slow down sometimes, to observe, to connect, even in the quiet moments.
Perhaps it's definitely food for thought.
So whether you find yourself right in the middle of the Tet celebration someday or just enjoying the lantern lights of mid-autumn, let these holidays maybe teach you a little bit about the why behind the way things sometimes slow down in Vietnam. Stay curious.
And embrace the rhythm.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.